Oh.
There are some people in the waiting room. Are you guys okay to start now, a little early?
Can't hear you, France. Could lip read though. You're still muted.
So let's see. Who else is going to be here? Is it just the three of us?
There were something like 7 responses to the invite.
Okay, because the vice chancellor of research is coming down and wants to talk to me, which sounds much more threatening than it is. It's Nettie.
Oh.
So it's just going to be 5 to 10 minutes. So I might not be there in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can defer all. We can hold all OSL questions for you.
You can all the action items on me.
That too.
So means he's going to show up in my window here in a second.
So I don't know. Has anyone had any direct feedback from anybody? I guess there's been a few people moaning in the Slack about things not working, and I think we fixed most of them.
Yeah, I saw that with the 2 pre-course assignments.
We cobbled together some kind of like intro to Jupyter. Hopefully it'll work. There's a picture of a bunny in one of them.
Ah, there's Nettie. I'm going to drop out for just a few minutes.
Am I too late? Yeah, I was gonna try to test the notebooks for next week's days, just to run through those and see if those had anything.
Yeah, I think they're mostly okay, but yeah, they could always use more friendly pairs of eyes before we unleash them on the world. Although they actually are already unleashed on the world, I guess. I'm still working on one of mine, actually 2. But that's because I'm slow. I keep getting distracted by other things.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I just got back to Oregon, so I've been trying to get kind of everything squared away on that front, while also trying to do the stuff for this and PhD, just stuff in general. So
yeah, that happens. Yeah, the SCEC abstract deadline's coming up, and like one of my students is getting very nervous about that. So I've been filling a lot of my time. Yeah.
Yeah, the ISCE abstracts, like the volcanology conference, are due in the beginning of September. So that's what's been my time is spent on as well.
Yeah, that time of year. Just about managed to get an AGU written on time.
All right. I got people.
Time, is it? Yeah, it is time. Oh. Guess there's no real reason to wait for people if people have questions. People can ask questions. Welcome everybody. We're here with office hours. The goal of this is to answer any questions or address any problems that have come up with the course so far. And so that means, of course, the pre-course material, getting access to the OpenSAR lab, getting your environment set up on OpenSAR Labs such that you're able to download things. We know that that is a problem often. So if anyone here has any questions of that nature, please unmute yourself and ask, or ask in the chat, and we'll see what we can do to help you. And if no one has any questions, this can be a very short meeting. I don't know if we have a countdown timer, like an auctioneer. Like, no questions going once. No, we'll wait a little while because maybe someone is struggling to log in. Okay, there is a question. Okay, hello, I have a question. If I want the credit for the course, is there any test for that? We mentioned this in yesterday's meeting, and it's on the syllabus. There are two ways that you can get some kind of recognition for having taken the course. And one is a certificate that UNAVCO will issue to people who fulfill a certain set of criteria. And the other is you can get graduate course credit from University of Montana. For the graduate credit, you have to have paid a fee to the university, I think of $150. They will maintain a list of people who are registered. And at the end of the course, we will get asked if the people who registered fulfilled the duties of the course. And those are listed on the syllabus. I can show you exactly where. Yeah, so let me share my screen. Yeah. So at the very end, we have this little section on course credit. And the criteria for getting course credit and getting this course certificate are here. UNAVCO will issue certificates for course participation to people who complete the majority of the course homeworks. And there are 10 homeworks, so you have to do at least 6 of them to have done a majority of them. And you have to fill out the pre-course survey and the post-course survey in order to fulfill those requirements. If you're down for graduate course credit, then the second paragraph applies to you. You have to complete all of the homeworks then, and we will grade them for correctness. And you have to get 7 out of 10 of those homeworks done correctly, along again with the pre and post surveys. So that's what we're looking for. Do you have any follow-up questions about that? Excellent. Anyone else have any questions? As I'm saying, we're not here just to tell you things. We're here to answer questions. And if people don't have questions, then we don't have anything to do.
And people, if somebody feels like we have the introduction of the instructors and TAs yesterday. Some other people, some other participants, if you feel like, you can introduce yourself also here if you like.
That's true. Anyone here who wants to introduce themselves to us?
Feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, you're a little quiet, Yunjin. FYI, or at least I need to turn my volume up, maybe.
Oh.
And Paul's even quieter.
How about now?
Hey, that's better.
Right. Everyone else, all the participants, please feel free to unmute yourself, introduce yourself if you like, and or turn on the camera if you like. It's always much better to have a personal feelings of the names.
put faces to names, right?
Yeah.
I knew Farah was here, but we met her before. Same with Emery. Put it in chat. What I said in words. I'm trying to master the power of awkward silences in my classes, in my undergraduate classes that I teach. Just stand there and wait and say nothing until someone gets really, really awkward and has to ask a question. I can try that here now.
I do actually have a question or opinions ask around. I'm updating the MinPy notebook, and I'm trying to add that closure phase bias correction that Yujie implemented into MinPy recently, but it has a lot of technical details, and we have limited time. How deep or shallow you think we could get into that?
I think that's a quite advanced topic. I mean, it's a worthy one. I think that one can get good results from MinPy without having to apply it. So it's down to you and how important you think it is. I think for the purposes of this course, we don't really need to go beyond the kind of the basic workflow, but
yeah, so I was thinking maybe just show a closure phase bias detection with one equations and one figure to explain it, and then with a link pointing to a much longer notebook that Yujie already wrote online if they are more interested.
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, great. Great, thank you, that's helpful.
I have a really crappy SBAS code that I wrote myself, which is why it's not very good. And I just throw out everything that has a phase closure bias of more than a certain amount. And that's the way I deal with it. So correcting for it seems like an amazing sort of advanced.
Yeah, I was recently testing Yujie's PR and then the notebook. It was really amazing. And but together reading her paper, which was not easy. But it's amazing.
Do you have any more questions, Yunjin? Whilst you Of course, if anyone else has a question, that'd be great. Otherwise, the instructors can talk to ourselves, or we could all go home early. Let's put us another way then. Has anybody who's on here, who's called in, had any problems with the notebooks, or has it all been smooth sailing and has everything worked perfectly? Can we have an affirmative yes or no from anybody? Has everything worked okay so far?
Maybe it's helpful maybe to sorry for pointing to other non-TA or instructors. Maybe it's helpful if you tell us here what you expected to get from this course.
Or what you expected to get from coming here to this office hour today? Or if you're even there.
I know what I want to do is once I have students on my own group, or the first year students, or whatever students who happen to come to this class, I'll send them every year to this class.
It's that good.
Paul, you're saying, but I think you're muted.
Yeah,
Oh, we cannot hear you.
yeah, we couldn't hear you before and we still can't hear you. Even though you're unmuted.
Seems like
Okay.
we have a question or a problem. It's in the chat.
There we go.
Yes.
Now you should be able to hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Paul.
That's a strange error.
Could you maybe share a screen and then show us how the error with more details? Is value? Sorry for the pronunciation. If I pronounce wrong. Do you hear us? Could you maybe turn on your video, turn on your audio and explain more of the question that you have?
But which is the 0.4 notebook? I forget.
There's 3 of them. I think there's the GDAL.
Ah. So do we use DEMs in TIFF format in any of the salt processing?
No,
So
I
that,
think it's a reprojection thing maybe,
I see.
or a reformatting. Translate, GDAL translate, I suspect.
Hmm, okay.
But GDAL should recognize TIFF format anything.
Right. Yeah.
So that seems like a problem we would want to get to the bottom of.
Okay, a quick search that a file is in both the first and the second notebook of the 0.4.
Yeah, I'm running through all the steps now to see if I get any
Oh,
comments.
yeah, I guess either somebody else, maybe you or Gary, or somebody else wrote it. I think,
Piyush wrote it, maybe.
okay, so there are some potential issues. That issue could be because maybe you just that open topography, that file was not really successfully generated. So you need to fix your open topography account setup in that API key files. Check that red box on the notebook for the detailed explanation.
I know Eric rewrote the notebook a little to fix the open topography issue. I'll keep coughing. So it looks like I got that file, but code 2022 0.4. Yeah, so Yunjin, what does one have to do to get the download to work?
I think it's at least based on that description, is that RC file, right? I assume.
The netrc? I think there's something about tokens. Was the Eric was on about. But I tried to download that file and I get a file which is 121 bytes, which sounds like it didn't work. And so if that's the case and you try to run through the rest of the notebooks with that file, it's not going to be the right format. So I don't know if you need to have an open topography account. That might be a problem.
Is that for the GDAL notebook or for which notebook?
It's for one of the GDAL notebooks. I'm not successfully downloading the file. The first file, dataset 1, SRTM and geotiff format. It's like one thing to try, right, is to just enter that URL into a web browser. And I'm not getting anything. I'm getting this data set requires an API key for access. So to show you all of you online.
Yeah.
Let's try this. So we're back on here, right? And this is the issue. Like you're trying to download this file here, and it comes up with a total size of 121 bytes. When I check the the contents of this directory in the terminal, see it's showing up as 121 bytes, which of course is not the size of a DEM tile. So the first thing to try then is to take copy the URL that we're trying to download and actually paste it into a web browser. And this is what I get. And if I were a betting person, I would probably say that this text string is 121 bytes, and that's what we're downloading. So it sounds like we need to establish an account on Open Topography and an API key. Does that sound like a thing we should be doing?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable to me.
Okay. So I have an account, I suppose. How does one make an API key? Global datasets API, an authorization key will be required for this UPI starting January 21st. Go to my Open Topo in the Open Topography portal. There is a blog post. Okay, I'll save that link. So how do I get that key? Did I miss something? My account, my Open Topo authorizations and API key. Request an API key.
Request an API key. Yeah.
All right, I have one. Now what do I do with it? Where do I put that in this curl command?
Yeah, it says in that box, you replace that API key with the NNN in the notebook command line, in the notebook cell. Go down all the way.
All the way down to where?
To that red box. Yeah, right here, below that red box. Go inside on the yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know this was hiding down here. It should maybe be moved up to the top. Well, it didn't take no seconds. Now I have a file which is rather than 121 bytes.
Yep.
Now has some size to it. Okay. So the fix seems to be you have to make an account with Open Topography, which is at portal.opentopography.org, which is here. Make an account there. You go to the resources menu. And developers/API. And then where was that? And my authorizations API key and click on request API key. And you need to paste that. Copy and paste API key into the notebook. In the red cell.
Should we update the notebook with these instructions?
I think so. I mean, there are minimal instructions in there now, but perhaps we just need to put that at the top. Like up here where you try and download it the first time.
Right.
And it doesn't work. Feeling up to that? It's still early afternoon with you, right, in Alaska?
It's only 4 p.m. 4:20. So the API key. Oh, let me look at your screen here real quick. You put the API. Where did you put the API key?
You tack it on the end of that big long string. So like I think Eric edited the notebook yesterday and added this thing where you basically there's an API key and you had to enter your own thing.
Okay.
There.
And you added that with an @ which is an ampersand and API key.
Yeah. I guess if you want to read the whole API, it will tell you that too, but yeah. Documentation for the API here. Yikes. Well, anyway. Yeah. The solution is to put this at API_key equals. I can copy that, I guess. Yeah. And put it up at the top. And see if that would fix it. I didn't do it right. Let's try again. Copy. Yeah. Paste. Yep. That's it. That's what does it.
Okay, I can add those in unless somebody already has in the notebook and do a pull request later on.
Yunjin's gone quiet, so he might be on it.
It might be already done.
Probably. He's efficient.
Still no answer, so he's probably working on it.
But does anyone else have any problems? That was a legit problem that we need to fix. At least give more information in the notebook for.
I haven't received the emails yet on the pull request.
Oh, You can do a pull request. He's a wizard.
Paul can enable authorize a pull request, I imagine.
I can, but you guys are so good at it.
I didn't get the pull request email, so I cannot.
Actually, I was thinking about the repo. I realized maybe it's actually better if somehow we, for this year or maybe next year, instead of generating a UNAFCO 2023, just use the same UNAFCO, but then impulse report, create a release every year so that we don't need to copy over the directories.
The only issue with that was that we changed the order of events this time, and that's what.
Yeah.
And because we number the modules by day, that was the problem. We commit to not
Okay.
changing anything. We can do it that way, or is there another way?
Well, I think you can make arbitrary changes and keep it still the same repository and then issue releases. I think it requires a degree of understanding that was beyond those who made the decision to copy. With more competent people, I think it will be fine to do what you suggested.
We can put Yunjin in charge of repos.
Yeah.
We are just amateurs, basically, in comparison.
No, we're doing very good. Of course.
I have to look up a cheat sheet to push a git change every time, like a commit. I never remember the, the syntax or anything.
I don't know, do you use I actually heavily relies on that GitHub desktop, which really makes the commit and rebase things all much easier.
Ah, I have not looked
Because
into that.
yeah, because that commit the git commands are complicated. I also don't remember those. So that one give us some GUI assistant instead, at least.
Git add, then git commit, then git push.
Yeah.
And at some point you have to paste in a ridiculous long string of characters that no one would ever remember in order to get the thing to work. And in some of my notebooks, I actually have all the lines included at the bottom of the notebook, so I don't have to look them up. And then of course I realize I can't put my own key in there, because then I'd be writing it to the repo, and that's not how secure things work. Anyway, that's me. We have more people. Does anyone have any questions? We found and maybe fixed one issue, but there may be more out there that people have encountered that they might want help with. And if there are, please let us know. Because as I have said already, before someone came up with a question, if there are no questions, then there's no need for the meeting. Pressure's on.
I'm actually wondering about friends. For those staged data set, you and your team put it onto the AWS. With how long will it be available, or will it be deleted after some period?
That's putting your finger right into that sore spot. So right now it's basically a big junkyard. So we have to actually think about a concept for how we organize these files and try to keep track of which files are actually still needed. So for now they just will live on. Actually, most of the data sets that we're using here, they've probably been used 2 years ago already. So there isn't really a deadline right now, but at least we want to have a way of better organizing that spot so that we understand who put stuff where and for what reason, and have some sort of a chance of understanding or figuring out whether they're still needed or not.
I was pleasantly just surprised and to find that all the things for the Alazig earthquake are still there.
Yes, we haven't deleted anything.
Is
not a
the,
very
is the
big bucket.
procedure for uploading things the same as before?
Of course, because AWS changes things randomly. So now you need to, there's a little bit of a change with you need to add a no sign request for uploading and downloading. So we had to update some of the code in the notebooks for the pulling of data. Conceptually, it's still the same, but now you have to actually specifically tell it what region you want to grab data from or push data to, and you have to specifically tell it that you don't want to log in. There's
Yeah.
still a limit for the maximum file size that you can do in one sitting and in one block.
Okay, because I'm going to want to push at least one more interferogram
Yes.
up there at some point.
Yeah, so you can, the syntax you have in the notebooks for pulling the data, you can use that similar syntax, just reversing the in and out locations.
Eric's joining us. Hello, Eric.
He's not a
He's come here to see what we've done with his notebook.
It's like, what have you done?
So Eric, we found that we now know what you mean by the API key problem. And we're wondering if there's a way of putting more helpful information for how to get one for the people.
And it seems like Yunjun did that already, and somebody may have approved a pull request.
The Open Topo API problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I put a brief link to their. I don't know to what extent that's a required part of the GDAL notebook. I mean, it's kind of used because that's the example that Piyush decided to use for as an easily accessible data set that did not in the past require a password like the
Yep.
Yeah, we did find out that it is an essential part.
Or at least it will get things to crash later on.
So I mean, maybe we need to have a little separate notebook about that. I didn't look around on the Open Topography website about if they already have a training for, but it's kind of so I think the doesn't the ARIA tools also, I'm pretty sure they also use open topography for getting topography and maybe a water mask.
Emre, is this true?
I am not so sure, but I'll need to check what was included in the latest release that Brett did. Let me go over it quickly and I'll have an answer now.
Do we have we don't have an open topography. I'm in an ARIA tools person here.
Oh, I think Emre counts.
I actually have been using that SAR-DEM, Smart Standing with, from the operating GPR developed, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, I added that to one of the notebooks. Maybe it's just worth rewriting it to change all the calls to the open topography thing into using SAR-DEM code. Then we also had, because part of one of the notebooks is to do the geoid removal. The SAR-DEM program automatically does that, but you can tell it to not do that, not convert to ellipsoid height. So then that would be an option to have it download SAR-DEM. I mean, the Copernicus DEM in
Yeah,
geoid heights, and then have the people do the we have to find the right geoid thing, though. I mean, it's a different geoid for the, maybe that's already in the SAR-DEM code.
Yeah,
I
that-
mean, it has to be in there somewhere.
yeah, it's actually, there's an option there.
Yeah, I know.
not-
I'm
yeah.
just wondering, for the purposes of that script, it was one of the parts of the script, one of the notebooks was to download the DEM in geoid heights and then run GDAL to convert it to ellipsoid heights. For, you know, that's a useful thing for people to learn, but because they might have some DEM from some other source.
So just to close the
Yeah.
loop on this, Yunjun, did you already issue a pull request on fixing this, adding in the text or not?
That's already there. I did not do anything.
I added some text about it yesterday
But
Yeah.
the suggestion was that we should put it at the top.
at the top. Yes, that maybe that would be more prominent.
Yeah, and also with like the how to get your API key.
Yeah, and in ARIA tools README, we actually link to the open topography and show how to make it a topo API file, just like the netrc.
Okay.
So
So we
that
might
may
wanna
be
do-
something.
Yeah, you might want to push that up into this.
Yeah, we
notebook.
can just copy it from the ARIA tools notebook and put it in the
Yeah, I
preliminary.
pasted the link. Yeah, in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it. Where's the explanation about how to get the netars, the Earth data password? Because people need that even more than the open topography. It must be in here somewhere, right?
It is somewhere. I don't know if it's here or in like the strip map notebook.
No, the strip map notebook assumes that they've already done that.
That would also be a problem if that's the case.
Okay. I don't know how this worked last year. I mean, how did?
Oh, it did. I mean, but we did also spend the first 3 days fixing people's netrc files, but they had to do it somewhere.
Yes.
I mean, at least for ARIA tools, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, for everything. If you want to download a DEM, if you want to download from Vertex.
Yes, if you want to get Sentinel-1 data from or ALOS or
It might it be the data search notebook then, where you have to do this, which is 0.7. There is a Griffin notebook.
no, it's not in there. That's a really minimal thing.
Weird. I don't recognize that at all.
I don't know where that came from.
Oh no, and Cicera notebook, you have to make a separate file and put it in there. But the API details, Cicera client. Where is it then? We did talk about making a notebook just for the purpose of setting it up, right?
Yeah, I think it would logically be in this section of the 0.7 data search and access. Yeah, I added at the end of the Cicera notebook about how you can use the Cicera to download from ASF, but it assumes that you already have your
You have
Earth
your
data
access.
password. So because I assumed that there was something else that explained that. Maybe there's not. It's
Well,
not in.
It's not here. I don't remember. It was somewhere. We should find where it was and then and draw people's attention to it.
Because they actually have to apply for Earth data account, and they're also for open topography. It's not just
That's right.
something takes a little time.
So I just grepped for NetRC. The first mention of it is in 0.4 underbar geographic information science using GDAL. 01/intro to raster data.ipynd. Option 1 using VSI curl and cookies with NetRC file. So that's the first reference to it.
It's a notebook that we just looked at. And it does say here, yeah. So in this case,
Well,
to
I can do a -in.
Because even if people have the SARDEM program, they still need an Earth data account to get the SRTM data with SARDEM code.
yeah.
It's only Copernicus that's paying for an open S3 bucket. I don't know what their egress cost is on that. It must be substantial, and it's in Europe. I don't know how. I mean, AWS has to bring all that data from Europe every time somebody, unless they cache it somehow.
Says line 1245. Is that possible? Seems like an awfully large number of lines. Oh, it's an IPYND file, so that's probably why.
Yeah, the notebook file has all kinds of excess verbiage, in it.
Yeah, right,
Human readable.
right.
So it looks like in the notebook we're talking about, it already refers to us already having set up a NetRC file.
Yes.
So it still raises the question where that was, and we should make something to fill that gap, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing in the intro. The first mention in the other notebooks is script map 1.4.
Okay, so we need a notebook in I guess it would logically go in the 0.7 data search and access.
Yeah.
It's not necessary for the search part of ASF, but it is necessary for downloading anything from ASF or the land processes stack.
Yeah.
Actually, it might make most sense in the OpenSAR lab accessing and working with, even though it's not OpenSAR lab per se. That is one of the earliest things, and it's a good place to bring it up since you can have a terminal, bring up a terminal in OSL and do the NetRC demo there. Or maybe it has to be its own standalone notebook right up front. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree. Who wants to do it?
I think I can do that. gonna be, it shouldn't be too complicated.
Thanks, Eric.
In fact, this Griffin notebook is pretty,
Yeah, it's nothing.
doesn't even have any executable cells.
The idea is that people will bring up this notebook, execute it. They'll be able to type in their username and password, and then it will create the netrc file for them.
I would like that very
Yeah,
much.
we had that in one of the ATBD notebooks. What was it? I think maybe it was Maureen Gavorson that added that to one of our ATBD Solid Earth notebooks.
Perfect.
Could
Sounds
you
like a
pillage
good
that
idea.
for
I can pillage that.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's ideal if it does it in the right place, in the right format.
and sets the permissions right as well?
Yeah, right, because the a lot of the code complains if it's readable by anybody.
Eric, there are those like 2-line changes in the ARIA tools README for netrcm top API file creation. So the link I pasted in the chat, that may be helpful.
Yeah. So the issue really is not the getting of not writing the netrc file as much as getting them to register with Earth as well, right? Same with
Yeah.
OpenTopo. So those are the two things you need. You need to have sort of instructions like how this is where you go and register, and this is what you need to activate. And we had people last year who had an account and a netrc thing, but had not clicked the license agreements. So they were still getting failed downloads because of that.
Yeah, you have to allow a license agreement for Sentinel-1, I think.
Yeah.
Yunjin, are you going to show atmospheric corrections like using ERA 5? Because that also requires like license agreements. And
I actually update more detailed instructions on the PyPS GitHub website with testings. So no, I'm not going to show you that, but I'm going to put
Okay.
that as homework.
It's an optional homework. Right?
Isn't it?
the
As a
hardest
homework.
part will be figuring it out, I can tell.
I need to get people to sign up and click on license agreements. A video of somebody going through all the steps is probably the best way to get people to actually do it.
That's actually true. Yeah.
Oh, a whole video. Hmm. Yeah, I'm maybe you could do that tomorrow, not today. It's getting late.
Well, maybe that's not something for you to do.
Yeah, maybe somebody else.
I'm not sure I would know how to do it. It's been about 5 years since I've done it.
I could try to do that in the top stack demonstration part.
Well, I think they need it right away, don't they? For strip map.
Yes. Unless we tell them to only use the Copernicus DEM, which seems a little strange, but Copernicus is paying for open access and NASA's not anymore.
Well, first we need the notebook, right? Then we can demo the sign up process, and maybe we can do that in the next 2 days.
Yeah, I think, I mean, some people may have already done that. I mean, but probably not very many out of the 150. Especially the people that live in other countries maybe are more hesitant to
It's more that
register.
it's a giant blind spot for us that already did it years ago, and we just carry on blindly like everything's fine, and then we realize that everyone else can't do that because they need all these.
We just keep our netrc file in our computer and then just copy it to every other computer that we use.
We do that, and we also signed up for everything and agreed to it.
Ah, the agreed to it part, yes.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, we found, I think, last time that, you know, you get to the point where it puts out the URL that it's trying to download, and then it dies. But if you click on the URL in OpenSARLab, then it takes you to the page where you have to agree.
Ah,
So that is potentially a fix, but it'd be better if we coached people to not have to do that from the get-go.
yeah.
With this, you were talking about which specific one or all the account?
We're talking about your Earth Def account.
Yeah, the Earth data account, I think, is really essential. I mean, people could maybe live without open topography API, but I think they're not going to be able to do anything with NASA data without an Earth data account.
I'm happy to do it, just I'm a little bit tight these days. I'm not sure of the time. Unless any other instructors or TAs would love to do a demonstration.
And I guess it's a little bit difficult for somebody to demonstrate all the agreements you have to agree to without having them create a new registration, which NASA doesn't really want people to just start registering extra accounts. But
So you have the video.
I just posted a video that I found on the Vertex page. It doesn't specifically, I think, talk about the license agreements, but I think if you do it through ASF, I think you automatically are routed through the agreements.
And it used to be that you had to click on several things, right? Once you
Yeah,
got-
so once you signed up and click OK, then a next form comes up where you have to accept the license agreements.
I'd like to show you how to sign into Vertex, because when you sign in, you can use all of the features available in Vertex
okay.
and access all of the data for download. As always, come to search.asf.alaska.edu. If you've not already signed in,
Okay, we don't
we'll
need to
have an
hear it all.
icon here saying to sign in.
So we're at the end of our hour. I am supposed to go out now.
So, yeah. So is that useful, Eric? If you sort of put that link in the notebook and just say here's.
No, I think we definitely want to get that as a link. That seems like that's an excellent start. And I think I don't think there's an extra agreement for a license. There's no extra license agreement for SLDN data.
Yeah, I think if you sign up, so you can sign up directly through NASA Earth Data.
Yeah.
If you do that, the problem is that you don't automatically have to agree to the ASF SAR license agreement. But if you follow this video and you go to the ASF search and sign up, then I think it requires and asks you right away to agree to all the license agreements.
These are mine,
Right.
and these will just get automatically agreed to if you sign up through ASF.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this now just as a dummy real quick. Dummy friends. Username. Guys, confirm the password. See if it's going to kick me out if I create. So you have to pick your country, you have to pick your affiliation, study area, geophysics. Aha, yes, and then you have to agree to the different license agreements. Yes. Yeah, so if you sign up through ASF, you have to agree to the Maris license agreement. Yes. The ISA Sentinel license agreement.
Griffin or no?
The 4 I showed, or are there more?
So this is what I have. Let me see. Not sure what you see. Oh,
Sentinel-3 we don't need. Maris, I had.
I'm not sure if the Sentinel is, I'm not sure if that's just a generic Sentinel one. But anyway, that makes you agree to all of those. So let me do this real quick.
Yeah, so I think it's fairly involved.
Yeah, but now I should have everything I need, I think. So if I go to Earth Data.
Did you just create a new username?
I just created a new, where do I go? It's like Earth Data. What's this? Share something else. What's the URL? It's Earth Data, NASA, Earth Data. So where do I log in? I think I called it dummy France. Okay, so go away. So here am I, where am I?
Click
Is it
on
applications?
Yeah.
Accepted. Hewlett's. I have those two, Sentinel and the Maris.
So I had 2 more, right? I had the Griffin one. I don't know if that's needed or not. And the ASF data, something or other.
The Griffin one's necessary for the ARIA tools.
Yeah, yes, ARIA tools requires the Griffin. Accessing ARIA data requires a Griffin license.
Yeah.
Which one? Prod?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it seems like going through this process step by step narrated would be helpful. And the other one I had was what was it? I don't know if it's needed, but I had Alaska Satellite Facility data access.
I read it all very carefully.
Yeah.
So let's see. Those 4.
Yeah, those are the 4 I had. Yeah, so there's a number of steps that I'm sure would confuse a good fraction of 150 people if yes, there's no step-by-step thing.
Okay. So we do a video of walking through this, signing up and adding these agreements?
Yeah, well, actually, you just did it, right? This is recorded,
Perfect.
so we can show people, we can actually clip a piece out of this and post that.
I can ask Melissa to do that, to just
Alright.
clip this segment of the office hour specifically of you going through it.
Perfect.
I'm going to show that Franz has too many tabs on his browser.
All right, we've solved that problem. I'm going to go.
Great.
See you all tomorrow.
Thanks, Franz.
That's how I roll.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay,
Chief scientist and chief account registrar.
there you go. Okay.
Great, bye.
Thank you.
See you all.